Good afternoon. So now you have also requested that I do the calculation for gradient. So I'm going to use this map of Malelane. I want to calculate the gradient from spot height 490 in A1. You can see this is the spot height 490 in A1 to spot height 437 in B1. So the first thing that you need to do is when you're calculating your gradient, okay, of course, we are looking at steepness or the gentleness of a slope. So we are given two heights. The first height that we have is spot height what? 490, and spot height 490 in A1. Then we have got 437 in B1. These are the two spot heights that we are given. 490 in A1 490. Then we have got spot height 437 in B1. So these are the different spot heights that we have. So the first thing that you need to take in consideration is when you're calculating your gradient, what is the formula? Is your vertical interval over your horizontal equivalent or horizontal distance. So when you want to calculate your vertical interval, which means you subtract the highest height, which is 400 meters, highest height, which is 400 meters, as you can see here in A1, minus your lowest height, which is 437. Okay, 437. You have now we have said that we are calculating the gradient from spot height 490 in A1 and 437 in B1. So this is the height that we have in A1. This is the height that we have in B1. Okay, so what is the formula? Is vertical interval over the horizontal equivalent or horizontal distance. So what is our VI? How do we calculate our VI? We set the highest height, which is 490, minus the lowest height, which is what? 437. Remember, all these are in meters. Okay, our height is in meters. 490 minus 437, what do we get? We'll get 53. We will get 53 meters. So which means here we have got 490 meters minus 437 meters, which will give us what? 53 meters over. What is our horizontal equivalent? Our horizontal equivalent or horizontal distance is the same thing. So what do we do now? You take your ruler, you connect the two spot heights, okay, the 2 points. That is from your, let me do it like this, from your 437, this is where it starts, up to where our 490 is. Okay, you can see this is our 437 in B1. This is our 490 in A1. We are going to measure the map distance between these two spot heights. You can see where I'm starting. I'm starting at exactly 0, where it starts, okay? Then where is it ending, okay? This is 5, 1, 2, 5.5, 6, 7. I've got something like 5.8 centimeters. 5.8 centimeters from here up to there. Please, when you are measuring, try to be as precise as possible. So you can see from here, okay, where it starts at 437. Okay, 437, where it's ending. Okay, let me just connect. I'll rub it off. Okay, so this is where it's starting, 437. This is where it's ending, 439. So 5, 6, 7, 8, which means I've got 5.8. I have what? 5.8 centimeters. Okay. So I'm using a topographical map. As you can see. What is the scale there? The scale for the topographical map is 1:50,000. And I have to calculate my gradient in meters. So which means I need to change this scale. That is 1:50,000 into meters, which means I simply divide by 100. Why am I dividing by 100? Because there are 100 centimeters in a meter, which means I will have 1 centimeter on the map represents 500 meters on the actual ground, which means here I'm going to multiply by 500 meters. So I'll then say 5.8, which is my map distance see I have written the unit of measurement. I'll multiply it by 500 meters. What am I going to get? I'll get 2,900 meters. So this is what I have. My VI now is 53 meters over 2,900 meters. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to divide my VI divided by my VI, then also my horizontal distance divided by my VI. So it means here I'm dividing with my VI, I'm also going to divide with the VI, which is 53 divided by 53. What am I going to get? I'll get 1, which means I get 1 here. And now for my horizontal distance, I'm going to say 2,900. I'll also divide it by the VI, which is 53 by 53. And what am I going to get? I'm going to get 54.72. Okay, 54.72. I just round it off to 2 decimal places. 54.72. Then I don't leave it like this. I have to write it as a ratio, which is 54.72. That will be my gradient. Okay, so you can have a question that asks you, is it steep or gentle? So when you are interpreting gradient, what you do is when it's less than 10, it's steep. If it's between 10 to 15, it's moderate. If it's more than 15, it means it's what? It's gentle. That's how you interpret your gradient. I'm going to demonstrate it as well on the on my whiteboard. All right. So I'm just going to demonstrate the same thing that I was the calculation that I was doing there. So gradient, obviously, we are more concerned with the steepness. Okay, steepness or the gentleness of the slope. Okay. That's what it's all about. So the first thing that you need to know is when you're calculating your gradient, what is the formula? Your formula is your vertical interval over your horizontal distance or equivalent. That is your formula, which is VI over HD or HE. So what did we get from our map? From our map, remember, we had 2 spot heights. We're calculating the gradient between 2 spot heights. That is your 490 in A1. Then you've got your 437 in B1. In B1, that is your 490 in A1 and your 437 in B1. So we have got 2 heights that are given there. That is our spot height. Spot height. Okay, we have got 490. Then we also have 437. This is in A1. This is in B1. These are the 2 spot heights that were given. So how do we calculate our vertical interval now? Vertical interval, we are now saying the highest height, which is 400 meters, minus the lowest height, which is 437 meters. Okay, if you subtract the 2, what are you going to get? You get 57. Okay, you get 53, sorry. 53 meters. We have already done this on paper. Okay, I'm just demonstrating so that at least you understand. Then the next thing that we did is we measured from spot height 437 in B1 to spot height 490 in A1, and we got how many centimeters? We got 5.878 centimeters. Then we multiplied this by 500 meters. Why did we do that? Because our scale for the topographical map is 1:50,000. This is in centimeters, so we have to change it into meters because that's how we calculate our gradient. So it means we are going to divide our 50,000 divided by 100 because there are 100 centimeters in a meter. We do like this, then we have got 500. So our 5.8 we multiplied by what? 500 meters. What do we get if we multiply the 2? Then we get 2,900 meters. Now that we have got these 2 figures, which is 53 meters for our VI, then we have got 2,900 meters for our HD. This is our HD. This is our VI. We do not leave it like this. We have to divide both the VI, which is our numerator, by VI, which means here we divide it by the VI. Here we also divide by the VI, which is the vertical interval. Okay, so it means we are now saying from here 53 meters divided by 53 meters. We are also saying 2,900 meters divided by 53 meters. That's what we are saying, because here we have obtained our VI by subtracting the highest height minus the lowest height. We got 53. Remember, check also the unit of measurement is there when I'm doing my calculation. Then here we have actually find out that the horizontal, the distance between the two spot heights is 5.8 centimeters, and we have multiplied with the scale, which is 500 meters. That's how we got the 2,900 meters. Then from there, now that we have got our VI, okay, and our HD, which is 2,900, we are now dividing both by the vertical interval, which is 53 meters. So 53 meters divided by 53 meters, what do we get? I'm going to take it here now. 53 meters, okay, divided by 53 meters, what are we going to get? We get 1. Then 2,900 meters divided by 53 meters, I've done that also. We get what we get? We get 5716, which I've converted to 2 decimal places. So it gives me 54.72. Okay, this is what I have. Remember, this is our VI, this is our HD. Okay, so we are now saying now you don't leave it like this. There is no unit of measurement, you don't leave it like this. You write it as a ratio. 1 is to 54.72. That will be the gradient. But however, when it's like that, you don't leave it like that as well. Of course, you can be asked, what is it, steep or gentle? So you have to know that if it's less than 10, if this number is less than 10, it means it's 10 and below, it means that it's steep. The gradient is steep. If it's between 10 to 15, it means it what? It's moderate. If it's more than 15, it means it's what? Your gradient is gentle. This is how you interpret your gradient. So from here, gradient is called the vertical interval over the horizontal distance. Vertical interval, you were given 2 spot heights, 490 in A1 and 437 in B1. You subtract the smallest height from the highest height. That's how we got the 53 meters. Then our horizontal equivalent, we measured the distance between the 2 spot height and we got 5.8 centimeters. We multiplied that by the scale, because our answer is supposed to be in meters. The unit of measure is the meter there. So we divide our 50,000, which is in centimeters, by 100 to get 500 meters. That's how we got this. Then we have got 53 meters over 2,900 meters. Then here what we do, we divide both by the vertical interval, which is 53 meters. That's what we have done. We have divided here. Then that's how we got the 1. Then we also divided, that's how we got this 54.716, but we have converted to 2 decimal places. However, there is no unit of measurement in your gradient, so your answer will be a ratio, which is 1 is to 54.72. That will be your gradient. How do you interpret your gradient now? We are saying now, you can be asked whether the gradient is steep or gentle. We are saying now, if it's less than 10, we are referring to this number, 54.72. If it's less than 10, which means the gradient is steep. If it's 10 to 15, it means it's moderate. If it's more than 15, it means that it's gentle. Which means when you look at our gradient now that we have, which is 1 is to 54.72, it means that it's gradient. Then the other question that can come together with the gradient is are we likely to have more infiltration on the surface as a result of the gradient that we have? Which means if it's gentle, it means it allows water to settle, which means when water settles on the surface, it means there's more infiltration that takes place. But if it was going to be steep, it means that water, as soon as it rains, the water will start flowing. We have got more surface runoff. That's basically what it's all about. Okay, thank you so much. I think you have asked me to explain gradient in detail, and I've done that. Thank you so much.